Hey guys, what's up? Cardmaster Phoenix here, bringing you guys another Cardfight Vanguard area deck profile. So this one will be for my Gavrail deck, and let's just go ahead and hop straight into it. So, I've played tested with this quite a lot recently, and I like it. There are some changes that could be made, but nothing really too much. But we'll get into those later. So for our starter, I'm running Black Cause Muriel. I know some people run different starters, but I just like this one the best, honestly. I just love it because the ability to get not necessarily a rescue check, but the power to the Vanguard off Nurse and power to your Nurse itself because of Nurse, and just being able to get a free superior call from the damage zone, as well as returning it to the hand at the end phase, is just amazing. Usually a target for this is gonna be something like, I guess, either Gavrail or the Perfect Guard or something, but still, it's just amazing. Anyway, first off, this is her auto forerunner skill, and activate on the Vanguard Circle, Generation Break 1. Count blast 1 and put this unit into your soul. Put the top part of your deck into the damage zone face up. Choose a face up card from your damage zone, call it to rear guard, and if you have a Vanguard with the rescue ability, at the end of that turn, you may put that unit called via this effect into your hand. So this is pretty nice for allowing you to get the aforementioned cards back into your hand. It's just great. You can even use it for cards like Milling Ray and Nurse and Thousand Ray, just stuff like that that you wouldn't originally want in the damage and that may end up there. Your ideal field's probably gonna be a grade 3 Black Shiver Gavrail Prim, or Gavrail Prim, whatever its name is. The newer Gavrail. The Nurse of Broken Heart on the rear guard circle with Milling Ray supported by Thousand Ray. And of course, whenever you take damage, you're going to get 2k to the Nurse and Vanguard. And of course, Milling Ray as well, and Thousand Ray, so that'll pump up your entire field. And it's just great. Anyway, moving on, that's it for our form. I'm moving on to our trigger lineup. We're running 16 triggers, of course, with the lineup being 8 crit, 4 stand, 4 heal. We have 4 copies of Nutrient Angel, so activate in the rearguard circle, Generation Break 1, 10 plus 1, put this unit into your soul. Choose up to a total 2 cards in the damage zone or circle and turn them face up. So this either countercharges 2 or unlocks 2, because when you think about it, locking is you take a face up card and turn it face down. This takes a face down card, turns it face up. So this is action unlock critical trigger, which is very nice. Plus it's countercharging 2, that way you're directly plussing 1 from counter blasting 1 to use the skill and counter charging 2, making it an amazing card. Plus, why wouldn't you run it? Furthermore, for our final critical trigger, we're running 4 copies of Black Spark 1 card. This is just a generic, this is just your generic archetype-specific critical trigger that goes into Soul for 5,000 power and a draw with a Gavrail in the name, Vanguard. There are tons of critical triggers like this for the main grade 3 decks, some even with the Stride grade 4 units. It's just one of those again. But you know, it's for the Gavrail Vanguard, so why wouldn't you run it? Because it's a Gavrail deck after all, but whatever. So her skill is auto on the rearguard circle, put this unit into your soul. When your Vanguard attacks, if you have a Vanguard with Gavrail on its card name, you may pay the cost, and if you do, draw a card, choose up to one of your Vanguards, and it gains plus 5,000 power until the end of that battle. So it's just very good. Moving on, that's it for our critical triggers. To our stand triggers, we're running 1 copy of Dr. Oid Refros. This card, sadly, is limited to 1 copy of per deck, which is why I'm only running 1 of it. The reason this card was limited in the first place was because of its cycling ability. Basically, what you do is at Gem Break 1, you got the Counter Blast 1, put this unit on the top of your deck. You chose 2 cards from your damage zone, put them on top of your deck, shuffle your deck, and put up to the same number of cards from your top of your deck face up in your damage zone for each card put on the top of your deck by this effect, and then you drew a card. So what you do is you do this effect, you get 2 damage checks. I don't believe the triggers go off, but it doesn't really matter because it's still 4,000 power to Nurse, 4,000 power to the Vanguard, 4,000 power to Million and Thousand Ray. And then hopefully you'd either have another copy in your hand or draw into it, and then you could recycle the exact same card over and over and over again until you just ran out of copies in your hand. And that could get to some crazy power and board numbers, so that's just amazing. Sadly, it's still at 1. I see why. I just don't think at this point in the game it should still be limited. I believe we should be able to bring it back to 2, 3. I really think it'd be fine at even 4 copies. Maybe that's pushing it a little. That being said, if it were to come back, we'd cut our next stand trigger, which is 3 copies of Surgery Angel. First goes Rescue 1, Auto in the Rearguard Circle, Generation Break 1. Hand boss 1 and put this unit on the top of your deck. At the end of the bout, this unit boosted. It does not have to attack. It does not have to. The attack does not have to hit. It doesn't even have to be on the Vanguard. As long as it boosts, and you pay the cost, you shuffle your deck, choose a card from your damage zone, heal it, and choose one of your Vanguards and deal 1 damage. And then this damage check, in particular with the rescue skills, is called Rescue Checks. And with Rescue Checks, all triggers that you rescue check will also activate as well. So if you rescue check a critical trigger and you give it all to the Vanguard, your Vanguard's going to have that 5k power and that extra critical before you even start your battle phase. It's amazing. That's it for our stand triggers. Move on to our heal triggers. We're just running the 4 obvious copies of Eradicate Celestial Rabiel. This card's just your bind heal. Why wouldn't you run it? It screws over Thunderstrike, which I've actually beaten Battle Sisters with. I've beaten, I believe, Regalia with once. I mean, it's insane. I have replays of all of that, of course, that I'll show you guys later. But it's just great. You get to countercharge 1 regardless of how much damage you're already at, or how much cards you have face down in your damage zone, or even if you're not at GB1, if you're a Guardian with a specific G Guardian, it doesn't matter. This one just is a far more advanced version. Just the bind heals in general are far superior to the G heals, as I'm going to call them, because they're just guards. They're just heal triggers that revolve around generation guards, and that's it. And a specific generation guardian at that. So that's just kind of dumb. But anyway, this is much better. So that's it. Move on to our grade 1 lineup, because that's it for our trigger lineup and grade 0 lineup. We have 16 grade 1s, 4 copies of Battle Cupid No CL. Choose an Angel Feather from your hand and put it into your damage zone. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle, if you have an Angel Feather Clan Vanguard, you may pay the cost, and if you do, choose a card from your damage zone and put it into your hand. This is just amazing for getting the cards you don't want in your hand and exchanging them for cards in your damage zone that you do want. Whether it be Gavrail Prim for an ultimate stride, Shiver Gavrail for a regular stride, Nurse, Thousand Ray, Million Rage, whatever, for your combo pieces. It doesn't really matter. There would be one time where I know I wouldn't be able to guard the hit, so since I was going to have to take the damage, and I wouldn't be able to stride next turn, because I'd gone through all my stride fodders, and I didn't have any G3s or a total G3 in hand. I had a perfect guard, and like 1 trigger, when it was like 23 or something. I just decided, you know what, screw it. I guarded with no CL. And keep in mind, this is back when I was being stupid and playing draw triggers, just because I wanted to test it out. I wanted to test out draw triggers and Angel Feather one time. So I threw down a draw trigger in this card. I knew it was still going to go through. I didn't care. I just wanted to exchange that card. And even though the hit did go through, I got the extra card I wanted. So I was able to stride next turn. And surprisingly, I somehow won against that opponent, which is amazing. But anyway, there's that. Moving on. I'm running 4 copies of Thousand Ray Pegasus, an amazing combo piece, your ideal grade 1 line target. Auto on the Vanguard or Rearguard Circle, when a card is put to damage, and if you have an Angel Feather Clan Vanguard, this unit gains plus 2,000 power until end of turn. It's just pretty good. It's a great honor version of Million Ray, which we'll get to in a bit. But yeah, it's just a good card. Moving on, we have 4 copies of our Stridefighter, which is Black Colin Lakier. So her skills auto, choose a grade 3 card from your hand and reveal it. When this unit is placed in the rearguard circle from your hand, you may pay a cost, and if you do, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 card with Gavrail in its card name, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, and choose a card from your hand and discard it. I don't know why it says Gavrail, it's kind of been mistranslated or whatever, because even on one card it says Gavrail, not Gavrail. And it's also, the grade 3 is also translated to Gavrail, not Gabriel, but whatever. There can just be a typo for all I care. B and V are right next to each other, so I guess it was something in coding on the keyboard, that is. So anyway, and it's going to reveal to your opponent, put in your hand, shuffle your deck, choose a card from your hand, discard it, and continuous from the hand while you're playing the cost per stride. This card gets +2 grade, which is nice. So it's just your instant stride fodder, stride enabler, whatever you want to call it. And it also allows you to fetch out the correct grade 3, that way you're always riding the correct grade 3, which is nice. Moving on to our final grade 1 for the deck, we have 4 copies of Black Prepare Arkiba. This is still the best the best Perfect Guard in all Angel Feather, because it's relatively generic. I just really like this card a lot. So first off, it's continuous Sentinel skill, and auto choose a card from your hand and discard it. When the unit is placed in the garden circle from hand, you may pay the cost, and if you do, choose one of your units and it cannot be handled until the end of that battle. So it is generic because it doesn't have to block the Vanguard only, it can block one of the rear guards, which is nice. Because believe it or not, some rear guards are worth the Perfect Guard. And also, it can only be a Perfect Guard from hand, but it doesn't matter because its second skill, which is Rescue 1 auto in the damage zone. At the beginning of the guard step that your unit with the rescue ability was attacked, not your Vanguard, your unit with the rescue ability was attacked. You may call this face-up card to Guardian Circle, and it gains plus 15,000 shield. If you do, put the top card of your deck into your damage zone face down, choose a card from your damage zone, heal it, choose one of your Vanguards, and deal 1 damage. So if you have Nurse, you're basically getting a free, 17,000 shield, which is amazing. Not to mention Nurse is now 11k for all that's worth, and so is Million Ray and Thousand Weight, but whatever. It's just very good. As for what you could exchange, if you want to exchange some no-CLs for Lila, by all means go ahead. I know a lot of people play Lila. Honestly, I don't want to be playing her for the waifu factor. However, she is a very good card at that, but I just prefer my no-CLs. Anyway, that's it for a grade 1 lineup. Moving on to our grade 2, so I'm only playing 8, because you don't want to make the grade 2 lineup too clunky, honestly. Honestly, you only need 8 anyway. You're playing 4 copies of Nurse of Broken Heart. This is just the best grade 2 in all Angel Feather, just hands down, honestly. Auto in the rearguard circle, Generation Break 1. When a card is put into your damage zone, choose one of your Vanguards and this unit, and they both gain plus 2,000 power until the end of the turn. This works on the opponent's turn, works on your turn. It's just an amazing card. Why wouldn't you run it? Finally, for the only other grade 2 card in the entire grade 2 lineup, we have 4 copies of Million Ray Pegasus, auto in the Vanguard or rearguard circle. When a card is put into your damage zone, if you have an Angel Feather playing Vanguard, this unit gains plus 2,000 power until the end of the turn. Exact same skill as, well, honestly, it's the exact same card as Thousand Ray Pegasus, only grade 2 version with different artwork and an extra 2k power. And that's it. Anyway, moving on to our grade 3 lineup, we're running 9. We're running 1 copy of Prophecy Celestial Ramiel. There's no real reason to run this card. You can run that 1 copy of Lila if you want to. I'm just running this for that 1 extra stride fodder, in case I can't fetch a Nakir or another grade 3 or stride fodder of some sort. Auto limit break 4. When an Angel Feather clan unit rides this unit, choose one of your cards from your damage zone, put it into your hand, put the top part of your deck into your damage zone face up, and choose one of your Vanguards, and that unit gains plus 10,000 power until the end of the turn. If you can't stride, which you should be able to if you have a grade 3 to ride on top of this, it's just whatever, but I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it's a break ride that you can use if you really want to. And auto on the Vanguard circle, when this unit attacks Vanguard, this unit gains plus 10,000 power until the end of the battle, and continuous on the Vanguard or Rearguard circle Lord skill. There's nothing really to explain with this card, it's just there, kind of. Moving on, we have 4 copies of Black Shiver Gavrail. So first off, auto on the Vanguard circle, count +1. During your turn when your unit stride, you may pay a cost, and if you do, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, search for a card from among them, put it face up into your damage zone, and put the rest of the cards in the bottom of your deck in any order. Then choose a face up card from your damage zone, call it to the Rearguard circle, and then it gains plus 2,000 power until the end of the turn. It's just nice for building up field and building up power, stuff like that. It's just a great card in general. It is also the first Gavrail card and one of the only two in the grade 3 lineup, which is where we're running it. That way we'll always have the Gavrail name, but whatever. Also, on the Vanguard Circle Generation Break 2, when a card is put into damage zone until end of turn, this unit gains continuous on the Vanguard Circle. All units in the front row gain 2,000 power, which makes it to where everything in your front row gains 4,000 power because 2 to Nurse, 2 to this unit, and this unit gains 2 to Million Ray. This unit gains everything, gives everything else 2k. So it's 4k to the entire front row. If you have this unit, Million Ray, and your Nurse all on the first front row while you're at GB2, and it's just amazing. It really is. So if you have to misride, that's fine. As long as you're at GB2, honestly. But yeah, it's just a good card in general. Moving on to our final grade 3 lineup card in the grade 3 lineup, as well as the entire main deck. We have 4 copies of Blackshot Gavrail Prim. Her first skill is Rescue 1, auto in the Vanguard Circle. Choose a card from your hand and put it into your damage zone face up. When your unit stride, you may pay the cost, and if you do, choose a card from your damage zone and put it into your hand. Then choose a card from your damage zone, heal it, and choose one of your Vanguards and deal 1 damage. Obviously, you're going to want to have your aforementioned ideal field set up pre-stride. That way you'll get all the benefits off of it. If not, enjoy the wasted potential, I guess. But if not, it's fine. Just call them right after if you can. But you really should have them all face up on the field before you stride for maximum effect. Her next skill is Continuous on the Vanguard Circle, Generation Break 2. You may pay the cost of Counterblast 1 card with the Rescue ability as cost to stride units with the Rescue ability. So it's just an alternative stride cost, which is amazing. And it's an amazing alternative stride cost at that. Obviously, you want to make sure that you only counterblast your turn face down your non-rescue units. That way, you always have rescue units to counterblast with this. That way, you can always have access to strides. It's just amazing, honestly. I don't really know why you wouldn't play it in the Gavrail deck, or any deck for that matter. Anyway, that was it for the main grade 3 and main deck lineup. Moving on to our extra deck, we have our 2 copies of Holy Seraph Raphael. First off is search stride text and activate on the Vanguard Circle once turn, Generation Break 2. Choose a copy of this card, and for center flip it, choose a card from your damage zone and heal it. This isn't dependent on you having a certain amount of cards faced up or down in the damage zone, being at a certain amount of damage. As long as you have at least 1 card already face up in the damage zone, in the G zone, and you stride onto this card, you can actually use it instantly. And even if you're only at 1 damage, congrats, you're at 0 damage. I don't know why you would be, but yeah, you could be at 0 damage by the time you're at GB3, which is nice, I guess, if you're ever in that situation. I'm just running this card because I don't feel like running 2 copies of this, or 2 copies of this, or 2 copies of this, or 1 and 1, just whatever you want to do. I'd say either run 2 copies of this, or 1 copy of this, 1 copy of this, 2 copies of this, whatever you want to do as a replacement. But I feel this is the best 2 of in Angel Feather, so that's why I'm running it 2. Plus, I also had the best. I also have the most ideal, in my opinion. I have the most ideal lineup for the extra deck for Angel Feather, in my opinion. I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying, oh, yep, Scrubs, take my advice, Scrubs, copy me. Well, first of all, I would never say that, because I don't believe in net decking, and second of all, that's kind of like arrogant, and I'm not really an arrogant person. Don't get me wrong, I can be, don't get me wrong, I can be mean at times, but I'm never arrogant. And if you ever face me, I'm like sarcastic. That's just me, honestly. So deal with it or leave for all I care. But anyway, moving on. We have 4 copies of Fanatic Seraph Gavrail Eden, the newer Gavrail Stride, your ideal first stride, maybe even your second stride. If you're kind of desperate, maybe even your third. First off is her stride text and Rescue 1, activate on the Vanguard Circle once turn, Soul Blast 1, and choose a copy of this card and Persona Flip it. Choose a card from your damage zone, heal it, choose one of your Vanguards, and deal 1 damage. Like I said, if you really don't have it pre-stride, that's fine. Just call down your units and then use it post-stride for the skill to benefit off of it. But you really want to be having this pre-stride, which is nice, because then you get tons and tons of power, which is, again, nice. Her second skill is Auto on the Vanguard Circle. When this unit attacks, it doesn't have to hit. And I'm not sure why you'd attack a rear guard, but you can to get the skill if you want to. Choose up to the same number of cards from your damage zone as the number of face-up cards in your generation zone. Call them the separate rear guards, and they all gain plus 3,000 power until the end of the turn. And put the same number of cards from the top of your deck as the number of as the number of those units in your damage zone face down. You don't want to call more than 3, honestly, because that's kind of a lot of counter-blasted damage. But I mean, that's what the counter-charging heal trigger is for. But you know, it's just whatever. It's just overall probably the best stride, I want to say, in Angel Feather, besides Ultima, of course. But anyway, moving on, we also have 4 copies of the other Gavrail stride, Black Seraph Gavrail. So, activate on the first off is her stride text and activate on the Vanguard Circle once you turn Generation Break 2. Count last one and choose a copy of this card from your G-Zone and Persona Flip it. Until the end of the turn, this unit gets Auto on the Vanguard Circle. During the battle phase, when your card is put into your damage zone, choose up to 2 of your units, and they both gain plus 2,000 power until the end of the turn, and rescue 2 Auto in the Vanguard Circle. At the end of the ballot, this unit attacks. Choose 2 cards from your damage zone, heal them, choose one of your Vanguards, and deal 2 damage. I don't really go into this card too often. If you want to, you can even use 2 copies of this for your G-Assist fodder, or for your G-Assist reveal, whatever you want to call it. It's just pretty useful, honestly. To have 4 copies of, even if you know you're not going to go into 4 copies of it. That way you'll still have 2 copies to use, one to stride and the second to Persona Flip. So there's that. Moving on to the final stride unit, we have 1 copy of Black Seraph Valor Terminal. First officer stride text and rescue Auto on the Vanguard Circle Generation Break 8. When this unit attacks the Vanguard, it doesn't have to hit. All units in your front row gain plus 2,000 power for each card in your damage zone until end of turn. Then choose up to 5 cards from your damage. Choose up to 5 cards from your damage zone. Heal them. Choose one of your Vanguards for each damage healed with this effect and deal 1 damage. And since it's a rescue check, triggers will also activate. If you pull 5 triggers, you win. Because this is probably the best GB8 out there. There's not many good GB8s, but this is most certainly one of them. I mean, that's amazing, honestly. 5 rescue checks. 10,000 power to the Vanguard, 10,000 power to Nurse, 10,000 power to 10,000 power to Million and Thousand Ray. That's and that's excluding if you get some triggers. Wow, that'd be insane. And if you pull 5 GG, rip. And keep in mind, if you don't, no problem. That's not even counting your triple drive, which is amazing. Anyway, that's it for our stride units. Moving on to our ultimate stride unit. We're of course playing 1 copy of Zero Dragon of Peak Ultima. You already know the dealio, as Swaggy P would say with this card. It's just awesome. Why wouldn't you run it? Finally, for our G Guardians, since that was it for our stride and ultimate stride units, we have 2 copies of Holy Seraph Paraciel. Paraciel, first off, has her G Guardian text and continuous in the Guardian Circle. During the battle that your opponent's Vanguard attacked, if the number of face-down cards in your damage zone is 2 or more, this unit gains plus 10,000 shield. If the number of face-down cards in your damage zone is 3 or more, this unit gains another plus 10,000 shield, making it undisputably one of the best G Guardians in the game in terms of overall shield, right next to the new IR G Guardian for Genesis. But anyway, it's just an amazing G Guardian, really. And finally, we have 2 copies of Black Seraph Lilith. Lilith, first off, has her G Guardian text in Auto, Generation Break 1, Soul Blast 1. She's a face down G Guardian from your G Zone and turn it face up. Obviously, your other target's going to be the other copy of this card. When this unit is placed in the Guardian Circle, you may pay a cost, and if you do, this unit gains plus 5,000 shield for each face-up card in your damage zone until the end of that battle, which is nice. Anyway, Thank you guys so much for watching. That's going to wrap up our entire deck profile for Gavrail. I hope you guys enjoyed. I've been your host, Cardmaster Phoenix, signing out. See you guys next time. Have a good one.